to start recording. All right, make sure we go. All right, so I'm just going to kick us off with an official welcome and say, hey everyone, I'm Julie Bartkus. I'm the president and founder of Childcare Business Success, and I am so thrilled that we were able to make this webinar happen today. And Emily and I were speaking last week, and we thought, oh my goodness, since we have an aligned goal, which is to really help all of our owners and directors experience more success, why not bring a webinar to everyone, especially with a topic that is such an industry challenge as finding good staff. And on that note, I'll let Emily interject with a few words, as I know she'd probably like to welcome her folks.
Yeah. Hey everybody, it's good to have you here. For sure, we've been doing a lot of talking, Julie, with our clients, doing their sales reviews and getting their enrollment pipelines ready to go for back to school season. But over and over, the challenges I hear are, yes, I need to enroll my centers in my school, but I'm having such issue with staff turnover that it's hard to enroll the classes. So that's why we thought, who better to bring in on that topic than you? So hopefully us partnering together, you teaching us how to find and acquire and keep those great staff members will help our CRM clients work through their enrollment pipeline a lot faster.
Yeah, absolutely. And we really have a belief here at Childcare Business Success that how you do anything is how you do everything. So a lot of times people will say, oh, we're low in enrollment, so we need to market, or we need to do this, or oh, our staff's unmotivated, we need to do this. And the way we view things is really holistically, so that you're not just treating one segment. I have a whole business model that we'll be introducing you to too, but it really talks about how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you're having a staffing issue, it is going to overlap into your marketing, because your childcare staff are at the center of so many different things being able to be successful for you.
Yeah. I totally agree with that.
All right, cool. Anything else you want to say to your peeps?
No, I'm so glad you're here. I can't wait to see you all soon.
Yeah, isn't this fun? And if you guys like this format, you could shoot them some comments through the chat or the Q&A to let us know that this is pretty cool. It is a new technology for us, so I can't promise you that we'll have zero glitches, but we're going to do our best not to have any technical faux pas, because I know that's what makes these kind of things hard for people to tune into, is like if a slide gets stuck or you can't see anything. So, and we've been doing a lot of teleconference calls for many, many years. We've been in business for over 17 years, and our primary mode of communication has been the telephone conference calls, because we don't become dependent upon the technology working. But we found Zoom and found it to be a pretty much effortless platform and very smooth, as we had you and Chuck on during our Blab Fest.
Yeah, it was great. We loved it. This is a really cool platform. Not enough people use things like this. I think it's awesome.
Cool. So if you guys like seeing our faces, go ahead and let us know through the Q&A or through the chat. I will check on all of these things, and I'm really going to do my best to check the Q&As and the chat as we go. But if I get so lost in the content, I may not be able to get myself to the Q&A and the chat box. So what I will do is do an email follow-up, or another video follow-up with some Q&A answers. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds great.
All right. So it's nice to see everyone. I'm going to switch it over to where I'm actually going to share my screen, which is going to transition over to my slides. When I do that, I'm still going to be able to see your questions and see your chat. So if there are difficulties, please don't hesitate to say, hey, we're not seeing something, or your slides aren't moving. And I am going to check in with you once in a while to make sure that you're seeing what we need you to see as well. All right, Emily, I'm going to come back with you at the very end. We're going to go for about 16 minutes today, and then I'll call you back at the end, and we'll just do some wrap up and maybe give a few things away.
Oh, sounds fun. All right, let's do this.
All right. Woo. All right. I'm going to share my screen. All right. Everyone, welcome. This is why you're not finding good staff, the #1 mistake childcare owners make when searching. And as I told you, we've been, oops, see, my slides are not advancing. Oh, there we go. I have been in this industry for over 17 years, helping childcare owners and directors create their positive, productive, and profitable childcare programs. And we have had clients who have made some amazing transitions happen in their childcare programs, like Mary, who achieved 36 enrollments in 3 weeks and now has the time, freedom, and profits that most childcare owners only dream about. And her program was filled in record time after she struggled for years by herself. And this is why we really feel that these webinars and having this platform is really important, because we want to expedite the results that you get, whether it's regarding the staffing issues that you have, or enrollments, or just you're feeling stressed and don't know how to get the time, freedom, and profits that you desire, and most importantly, deserve. So if everybody's seeing my slides, I'm going to advance to the next one, which says 95% of your childcare program success is dependent upon the staff you have in place. If my slides are advancing and you can see this okay, go ahead and shoot me through it. Oh yeah, we're good. And I'm going to just check that super quick, and I'm not sure if you could. Yep, so somebody was asking about the recording being with the audio and video slides. The recording is going to be, if I did it right, it's going to be of everything, which is a super cool platform for you. So it's going to be of everything. All right, so I am going to, I'm thinking that you're able to see me. All right, great. All right. And if at any time you guys can't see me, and I'm not even sure if I'm in a little video box or if I'm totally off the screen, if somebody could let me know that, that would be fantastic. But I'm not sure if I'm on video right now or if you just see my screen. So maybe Emily, you can let me know so that we can progress. All right. Okay. I'm going to hide this. 1 second here. Okay, so my video is in the right corner. Thank you, Kristen. Is it distracting? If it is, let me know, and I could probably stop the video. Maybe I will do that. I'm going to stop my video, but I want to make sure it doesn't stop the slides from advancing here. So I'm going to stop video. And you know, Zoom is an incredibly cool tool, and this is something that I think that you can utilize to have virtual meetings, and I'll talk to you more about that later, but I want to stay on topic. So 95% of your childcare program success is dependent upon the staff that you have in place. Imagine your childcare program if you had the parents and you had the children, but you didn't have any bodies who can help you in your business. How successful would you be? The challenge that I face, and that I find most of our owners face, is that oftentimes we really just get people into positions and then we forget about how to cultivate those relationships or how to motivate our staff so they are serving our bigger vision as opposed to just being a live body that we have in place. So I really challenge you to think every single day, how important are the people who you're bringing into your childcare business? And let's talk for a few moments about why good staff, why dreamy staff are so critically important to have in place. And here are a few cartoon illustrations that we've had done over the years. And you could think about you, the owner or the director, in the tan sweater with the red scarf around your neck, and you've got an employee who's stepping over that red line. Now, if you operate your program from the belief that there are no good staff out there, you start operating from a position of fear, meaning that your employees will test boundaries with you thinking, hey, what are you going to do anyways about this? So this is why it's really important to be able to tap into the abundance of staff that is out there to serve your big, bold, dreamy vision. And if you're relating to some of these things, as I share them with you, feel free to shoot in a Q&A or have a little chat going on. I think you guys could even be chatting among yourselves in this forum. But, you know, this is something common that our owners and directors face. It's like, you know, they know that there's no consequences in place, so they are going to test me, and then at the same time, I'm feeling like I start tolerating all of these different behaviors. So your team morale goes down, and your really dreamy staff, you know, go down as well. So it's kind of like your environment becomes one more so of the live bodies that we were talking about earlier. So another illustration that I want to share with you that maybe you can relate to is, here's you in the tan sweater, red scarf around your neck, and you are trying to motivate your staff member by chocolate. Have you ever tried to do this? So when you don't have the right people in place, the people who can really, really serve your vision, you're using that proverbial carrot on a stick, and we made it into a chocolate donut dripping with chocolate on a stick here for this illustration, because oftentimes it does come down to us using chocolate to motivate our childcare staff. But when you have to motivate them to take one step, what's their next motivator for the next step? And you find yourself in a position of always having to do. I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, and I have to do this. And over the years, we've gotten so many calls with the one main question being, Julie, what else do I need to do? So I want to answer that question for you too as we progress through the materials today, to say, it's really not about what you do. It's about, I'll give you a hint, it's about who you're being and what you're attracting to you. And I'm going to really illustrate that point through, the next 45 minutes that we have together. Now, this may look familiar to some of you, and if it does, please shoot us through a Q&A or a chat and say, oh yeah, that's me. This is the hamster wheel, and here you are again, and you are wearing several different hats, running on that hamster wheel, sweating, trying to figure out the magical formula to managing, motivating, and retaining staff, let alone what is the formula for attracting those staff when you need them to be in place. And a lot of times you're like, oh, I'm just not finding good staff. And you really, really, really bang your head up against the wall saying, what do I need to do? What do I need to do to find them? Are you guys relating to some of these images? All right. And another big thing in terms of why we want to turn this around is not only for your own happiness and to get you off of this hamster wheel, to get your staff being motivated by more than just the chocolate donut, and to not test those professional boundaries with you, is because really happy staff in your childcare business equal higher profits for you. And the higher your profits go, the more quality of a childcare program you really have. And I always think about the analogy, imagine flying an airplane where we knew that they were bankrupt. You were going to be getting on this airplane for a flight, and you knew that that airline had no money. How safe and secure would you feel flying that airplane, flying in that airplane? But it's the same thing that's with our childcare businesses. If we're operating at a very low profit margin, how much can we really ensure parents that everything's going to be safe and that their kiddos are going to be getting the best care possible? So I really want you to think about this equation that happy staff equals higher profits. So here are some questions, and we'll make this little reference guide available to you in terms of a handout so that you can answer these later on. But there's a lot of traditional approaches that people take when it comes to finding their dreamy childcare staff. And the traditional approaches, and I would encourage you to write some of these down. So what are the things that you try? And have you posted on Indeed.com? Have you posted on Craigslist? Have you talked to other childcare programs in your community? And those are some of the traditional approaches that are not availing our childcare owners and directors with any good results. So those are traditional approaches, and the funny thing is they don't work, and we keep trying to do it more, 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 and more. So the question becomes, why is it so hard to find good staff? Which is going to bring me to my next question for you. Is, have you ever looked for something so hard and you simply couldn't find it? And I know I've had the experience where I've looked for things, and the harder I look for it, the more I can't find it. It's only when I stop looking for it that's like, oh, there it is. But, here are some examples. So here's a woman searching for something in a bag, and here's somebody searching for something behind a couch. And this one is very common. I know I recently did this. It's like, where are my keys? And you empty out every single purse, you look behind the couches, and you still can't find your keys. But yet, there they are, right in front of your face. And if anybody wears glasses or even sunglasses, you might have this scenario where it's like, where did I put my glasses? And you look all over the place, and it's like, oh my goodness, you're kidding me. They are right on top of my head. And you can do this with a multitude of things, whether it's your cell phone or whatever it might be, your water bottle. These are all things that have happened to me. It's like, where are they? And we find that the harder we look for all of these items, the harder they are to find. And this is traditionally why people have such a challenge finding their good staff. So what I want to talk to you on this webinar and the time that we have are some unconventional approaches that will help you to see your dreamy staff and identify dreamy staff whenever you need them. How does that sound to you guys? I'm just going to check in with you super quick on the Q&As and the chats. Really quick, so I'm just looking. I think this is a great way to do webinars. It's great for interacting. We are good. You are in the video in the corner. Okay, I took that down. Slides, face. All right, fantastic. So technology-wise, we're doing good. All right, any Q&As here? Let's see. I'm just going to check in super quick so everybody can see me and hear me. All right, and if you're having problems hearing, let me know. This is a good time while I'm looking at the video. I did stop my video camera so that wouldn't be a distraction, and we'll come back live to via video at the end. And if you're having problems hearing, you might want to check your speakers or reboots. So Shayna says she's having a little problems hearing. Okay. All right, I'm going to go back here. All right, so how does my mindset impact my search for the amazing staff that I need to support my big, bold, dreamy vision? And what's the biggest mistake owners and directors make when searching for dreamy childcare staff? So I want to answer these two questions for you next. So at Childcare Business Success, we have a Childcare Business Success model. Let me see if I've got it on the next slide. Yeah, so we have a Childcare Business Success model, and a lot of people are asking us for more information on this model because they're really loving it. But I want to show you how important your mindset is to making your Childcare Business Success model work. And what I've created is a set of interrelated rings, and every ring is dependent upon the previous ring. So your mindset is dependent upon your vision. Your mindset's dependent upon your people. So your mindset supports your vision, your people support your mindset, and your processes support all of that. The challenge is that we're typically working this model backwards. But if you look at the vision piece, and if you think about this piece being the core of your childcare business success model, let me ask you, what happens if you remove it and pull it out? So if you take this piece and you were just to pull it out, everything else is going to collapse on top of it. And even if you have a vision in place, but then you pull a mindset piece out, what's going to happen to the rest of the model? It's still going to unfold, and the interesting thing that happens then is that all of these other pieces weigh incredibly hard on the center ring, on the vision. So we work this model from the inside out where we've got our big, bold, dreamy vision in place. And this vision includes what kind of staff do you want in place to support your child care business. Now your mindset may or may not support that vision. So your mindset may tell you like, well, there's no good staff out there, or there's a shortage, or everybody in our community in the childcare industry is facing the same issue. So it's just not possible, even though I feel this inkling that there is something that's bigger and better that does support our vision. But the mindset piece will let you know, hey, if you're thinking the right thoughts, you're going to be able to grow that vision, make it stronger. But if those thoughts around your vision are not positive, productive, and really support that dreamy place of where you want to go, that vision's going to collapse and crumble. So your mindset will dictate, is it going to be a positive support system for your vision, or is it going to be a negative and deplete your vision? So what is your mindset right now saying about what is possible when it comes to staff? So listen to your dialogue, listen to the words that come out of your mouth, because that tells you very clearly where your mindset is. I mean, it's really as simple as that. The challenge is becoming aware of the thoughts that you're thinking and the words that you're speaking so you can identify where is my mindset when it comes to supporting my vision. So a lot of us will say what we want our child care programs and our child care businesses, but we don't maintain the mindset that's necessary to bring that to life. And your vision gets really tricky because your vision, when you look at it in this model, the model that we teach, and the model that we'll be teaching in our conference, is when you look at the vision piece, it's based upon what you cannot yet see, but what you know should be possible for you to bring into existence. And if you look at all of the great visionaries out there, whether it's Thomas Edison or anybody who's, J.K. Rowling, who's written the Harry Potter series, they had it in their mind. And then they started bringing it to life in visual form, so they started seeing it with their eyes. But it wasn't the opposite. So now when we operate our childcare businesses and we bring this model back into the workplace, we often see things with our eyes or we hear things with our ears, and that's what we deem as possible, not paying attention to the inner desires within our heart of what we know should be possible. Is that resonating with you guys? Go ahead and send an "oh yeah" through, and I'll see that come through in the chat later on. But we've really got to get our mindset is critical to support our vision, and the vision is critical. So there's two huge mistakes that people are making. Number one, it's the vision. We don't dream big enough with the staff that we want to have in place. You should be putting down on a poster piece of paper what these people look like, what they act like, the qualities that they have, and then include their mindset, the thoughts that they think. Do they have positive life experiences going on, or are they just going to be a needy staff member who we are going to have to mother? So I want you to get really clear on what your vision is, because there are some childcare centers who will sit in the visionary place of, yes, I'm going to mother each of my staff. And that's really based upon a dysfunctional need within that person to make that decision, because it doesn't empower her people to really grow. It empowers or enables them to stay stuck. And with our staff, we're doing one of two things. We're empowering or we're enabling. So when you create your vision for the kind of staff you want to have in place to support your big, bold, dreamy vision, think about all the characteristics and behaviors and mindset that support them and how you want to feel in their energy. And that's a super important word. And I pay very close attention to this, whether I'm dealing with clients or whether I'm dealing with staff members, is how do I feel in this person's energy? Because if I feel good and I feel like my vision can expand with this person, I know we're on the right track. But if I feel like my energy is being depleted and my mindset is going towards the negative thoughts, then I know that that's probably not the right person for me to be bringing on board with my staff. So this is the biggest mistake, and why your mindset is so critically important to you being able to attract the staff that you want to you. So really think about, who are they? What do they look like? What's my vision? What can't I see yet with my eyes? And start experiencing it. So start bringing it to life, whether it's on, with a paintbrush or markers or whatever it might be, or just in dialogue that you have to say, you know what? I know what is possible. And I want to tell you, there's been times where I've had staff members, I had one staff member one time, her name was Tess, and she just up and quit on me. And I was very dependent upon Tess to do many critical tasks within the company. And there was a communication error or communication conflict, and she was virtual, so she was working in another location. And she just sent me through an email and said, Julie, I quit. I can no longer support you. Then I'm like, okay. So I sat for a moment and feeling kind of a little bit low because somebody just totally up and walked out on me, even though she's virtual. And I remember having a dialogue with my son, and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, that this happened. And, I know how important this is to you. And I said, you know what? No, I'm going to shift the whole mindset around this. And I said, I am going to attract an even more amazing energy than this last person who was with me. And then I started listening just to my, inner voice to say, all right, I'm going to attract this amazing person with this energy who's going to be the lucky one. And then I got this inclination to go and find my Facebook groups for my local community. And this is a huge golden nugget for you. So this is a little formula I'm sharing with you right here as we're talking through this. So I want you to really think, what is my visionary space? What kind of mindset? My mindset was, I am going to attract amazing energy. Then I took that energy, I listened to the inclination within me, which was to find my local Facebook groups. And we've got several of them in McHenry, and there are some with 10,000 people, some with 8,000 people, some with 5,000 people. So I created a job description and I posted in some of the larger groups. And just from that energetic space I was sitting in, I wrote an ad that said, I'm looking for my kick-ass assistant. And those were the words that I used because that's energetically how I was feeling, that I really needed somebody to help me kick some ass. And I wrote that and said, I'm looking for a great virtual assistant, wrote down some of the things I was looking for, but it was more the energetic place I was coming from. And the next thing I know, I got several private messages on Facebook, and I ended up chatting with one person extensively for probably about 2 or 3 hours on and off. I hired her that evening. My son came home from work, and I had somebody else with a bigger, better energy to fill that spot that I was left stuck with, not knowing what I was going to do several hours before. So when you open yourself up like that and say, you know, I don't know who the lucky person is going to be to work with me, but they're here, you're going to start seeing them. So the biggest strategy around finding your quality staff is to open up your mindset to know that it's possible and start seeing with your mind's eye what you want to attract to you. Because if you could see it first, you're going to be able to attract it to yourself. So vision and then mindset. And there's a lot of stories that I could share with you, and I will progress with some stories as we go through the rest of the slides. And my challenge is that the time that we have together always goes by so quickly. So I am going to tell you, that we are going to be talking a little bit about the Childcare Business Success Conference coming up next week. But I don't want you to go get some tickets because we've got some amazing prizes that we're going to give to you at the very end of this webinar when I bring Emily back on with me. All right. And then, as you saw, I brought the wrong person on with me at first. So we could probably bring several people on video if we wanted to with this form. So it's very cool. All right. So let's come on to what are unconventional approaches that get results. You're one of my clients, and this is Mary that you'll see down below in the right-hand corner. It says, dreamy staff, now seek me out. And I got calls from Mary saying, oh my gosh, Julie, I don't even believe what's happening. This gal who's qualified in childcare was at the pizza place across the street from me, and she just got this inclination to stop in and ask me about jobs. And the next thing I know, I hired her, and she's working for me, and she's amazing. So there are unconventional approaches that get results, and these are things that nobody is really talking to you about or teaching you. So I want to make sure that we are teaching this to you today so that you can run with it and implement it and get some amazing results. Because this is one thing when you're talking about standing out above and beyond your competition is I want you, because you invested time to be here with me today on this webinar, I want you to be the one who's got the most amazing staff in your community seeking you out to work for you. So when we talk about unconventional approaches, and I'm getting a message here saying my internet connection is unstable, so if I lose anybody, please bear with me. I will log back in as soon as I can, but hopefully we won't go anywhere. So what are unconventional approaches that get results? So the first one is I want you to find in your community, what are your Facebook groups? There are these gathering places where you can go and your whole community gathers. And this is the same thing that's true for finding staff as well as for finding clients. So if you're a childcare program and you're not fully enrolled right now and you've got 10 spots, I'm like, you've only got 10 spots in a community of 10,000, the odds are pretty good in your favor. But the challenge is that you often go to a place where you're hiding and you're not getting yourself out there. So another unconventional approach is very old school, but it's one that I believe in wholeheartedly, which is building relationships in your community. So number one, find a closed Facebook group, not closed Facebook groups, they could be open Facebook groups, it doesn't matter, but find Facebook groups that are gathering places for your community and post help wanted jobs at or ads there. But not just your postings, you could also start building relationships with people right in those groups by participating in conversations, letting them know what's happening at your program. There's a whole series of different things that you can do to build strong relationships right there in those Facebook groups. But a lot of times what we do is we take our plain old boring ad, and when we need a live body, we plop that ad wherever we could possibly think of and hope that that's going to call the right people in, and it barely ever does. Let's talk about ads for a moment. Unconventional approach. Conventional approach is to say we offer competitive benefits and wages, blah, 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 must be flexible with your schedule, blah, 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 blah. So they look at our ad, they look at somebody else's ad, and they can't really differentiate between the two. So it's picking between two boring ads. So another unconventional approach that I want to make sure you're tapping into is to make sure that you shift your mindset and your vision and you get that in the right place. And then you write a help wanted ad that is an extension of the energy and excitement that you feel for your childcare business. And I want you to, after this webinar, sit down. And the other day we did one of these webinars with the Early Learning Leaders Org, and I got phone calls from people saying, I'm rewriting all of my ads, and of course, why am I putting out these boring ads? But we get so afraid to stand out that we just blend in. And 2 years ago at our conference, we started talking about the purple elephant strategy, which basically means that who wants to be a gray elephant in a line of gray elephants? So if there's a line of gray elephants, which is a representation of all your childcare programs in your community, you need to be the purple one with yellow polka dots. You need to stand out, and it needs to be cultivated in your culture, from the way that you answer your phones, to the way that you write your ads, to everything that you do. And the really cool thing is that it just becomes an extension of you. The thing you got to do is quit hiding and quit, justifying like why you don't want to put yourself out there. You want to put yourself out there. You want to be in that space of, here I am, look at me. Here's the amazingness that we have to offer to the community. So unconventional approaches, stop hiding, write your ads. Go back after this webinar and rewrite your ads, and write them from the energetic space of what you see from the center core, which is your vision, and get your mindset in the right place. And, unconventional approaches, I want to encourage you not to have a lot of relationships with the childcare programs in your community, especially the ones who are talking lack. Misery loves company, but you know what? Success is a much better party. So you could be part of the success party that's happening, or you could stay in the misery that everybody else is speaking. And some people will challenge me and say, well, Julie, but that's the truth. That's the truth. And it is your opportunity to start transforming your own reality. But you cannot transform your own reality if you're buying into everybody's truth or the generations of truth that have been passed down to you. Do you get that? So, and I'm reminded of, there was a time in my life when I was first married, and I was folding towels, and my husband said, hey, you're folding towels wrong. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm folding towels wrong? I'm, folding them in half again, and then making a really nice, cool, neat square. He's like, no, this is how you do it. And I'm like, all right, pick your battles, right? So I started folding towels his way. Then the next family gathering, I talked to his mom, and I said, all right, he wants me to fold towels this way. And she goes, oh my gosh, that is so silly. She had, I think, 8 babies were in their family, and she said they went through so many towels and had the smallest cabinet, and they had to fit all of these towels into this teeny tiny space. So her technique was more to roll the towels so that they would fit. But that belief and that behavior was passed down generationally to my husband, to where he was trying then to give that to me, who we would have passed on and continued it. But it's the same thing with truth about the shortage of staff. You can choose to right now develop a different belief around what's possible. And if you're on this webinar, you're probably already getting some kind of inclination that something else is possible for you, and that you don't want to buy in to all the other stereotypical beliefs that everybody else has in this industry. And you don't have to. And we have clients like down here, Mary, who says, Dreamy Staff, now seek me out. And you could tap into the power of what I'm teaching you as well to not just find staff, because that's really not, it's not really about finding them, it's about attracting them and seeing where they are so that you know what your next moves are. So there are some more unconventional approaches that I want to share with you. Let's go on to this one. So another unconventional approach, we talked about building relationships with people in the community. And this is very old school, but it is something that is so incredibly effective, and it's something that you could tap into, whether it's with enrollments or with attracting your dreamy staff. And when I'm out in the community, I see people as one of three different things. One is a potential staff member. The next thing is a potential customer or a fantastic referral source. So when I have conversations with people, I'm always evaluating, are you a potential person who could work for me someday? And I tell you what, I never have a shortage of people who want to work with me. As a matter of fact, I have some people who follow me around saying, let me know when you're hiring, because I want to come and be a part of what you're doing. A potential customer, a referral source. So how do you identify in your community how you would classify the people that you meet and the people that you have conversations with? So, you know, there's lots of people in your community, from the people who are in your school systems to businesses to whatever it might be, but there's lots of people in your community. So it all starts with the unconventional approach of having conversations, right? So it's simple, but it's very effective, and it's something that we're not doing, because think about how tired you are at the end of the day. Maybe you stop into your office supply store, but you are drop dead tired, so you're not going to talk to anybody. Your day is over. But if you're an owner, if you're a director, this is your time to shine and to have conversations with people. And I'll go to the office supply store. I recently went to Staples, and I ask people, here's the question, here's the conversation starter. How do you like your job? And I ask that question all the time. How do you like your job? And people will say, oh, I really love my job and I like working here. And they tell me a little bit about what they like and why they like working there. And then they're like, oh, and what do you do? I'm like, oh, well, we work with childcare owners and directors to help them create their positive, productive, and profitable childcare businesses. And she's like, oh, you mean like KinderCare and Goddard? And I said, well, yeah, you know, those are childcare programs, but we work with, you know, a lot of the smaller ones too, who don't have the big corporate structures. And she says, oh, I've studied childcare and I love childcare. How would I go about getting a job in childcare? And we had this conversation. By the time we were done, just talking for maybe 3 minutes, she gave me her email and she said, please pass it along to anybody else who I know who might be looking. So you can have conversations, start collecting email addresses. And the cool thing is, when you're having conversations with people who are working, it's a good sign that they're going to show up and work for you too. So, you know, if you're just waiting for the person who's sleeping on the couch to one day say, oh, I want to put my degree to use, you know, it's a whole level of motivation that that person might not even have. But if you go into your community and you find people who are already working and you start having conversations with them, you'll be amazed at who will come forward and say, oh my goodness, I would love to do that job, or I know somebody, or you don't know where the conversation is going to go, or maybe they've got a baby. And even if it's an elderly woman, and I love taking childcare teams out to the community, so let's go have conversations and see what we find. Because even if you're talking to an elderly woman, that elderly woman probably has grandkids or great-grandkids, and she's got a lot of influences in her circle, so to speak. So she's a great person to be having a conversation with as well, because she'll go back and probably be one of these great referral sources for you. Invite her to a special lunch at your childcare center, but cultivate relationships with people in your community, especially with people who could be those centers of influences for you, where they have the potential to refer 1, 2, 3, 17 different staff members or enrollments when you really need them. How are we doing on content, everyone? Anything on, I'm going to check our Q&As real quick and do a quick drink of water here. Oh, great. So Sheena says she can hear us now. Any questions you guys have? Any comments on how you're digging the content? All right. Seen a few comments come through. Okay, tutor time is good. All right. Let's see if we have got anything coming in the chat. Okay, great. All right. Like I said, if you do have questions, feel free to shoot those through in the Q&A, and I will look over those. And my hope is that you really get something from this, that you can, right after we get off of this webinar, sit down, rework a few things, and start attracting and start finding your amazing staff, because they are out there. You just got to tap into the unconventional approaches of finding them. All right, and even if you're finding this helpful, please shoot me a comment through so I could see that as well. How are we doing, Emily? I'd like to see your comment. All right, let's see here. Yeah, so somebody, and we get this question a lot about, do you have some good examples of job postings? And we can look at examples of like what other people are writing, but I want to tell you right now that nobody is writing really good job postings. At our conference next week, we are going to be diving deep into rewriting, but I do want to invite you to my Facebook page, and we're facebook.com/childcare business success. If you go to that page and you put, share a picture of your posting, I could go there and help you with some tips on how to rework it. But the biggest thing you've got to do is really get yourself in that energetic state where you see what's possible. You see these amazing staff, and then what would you say? So number one, when you're writing your help wanted ads for finding your dreamy staff, I want you to reread that ad, share that ad with your friends, and ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited would you be to find this job position posting? What would you think of this? And maybe ask your current staff, what would you think of this ad? And then really brainstorm. And don't be afraid to be silly, to be goofy, to be over the edge, whatever describes you. So I want you to think about the words that really describe who you are, your leadership style, your personality, and maybe you varied your personality a little bit, but what is that personality that you bring into the workplace? And then what I'd like you to do is to say, all right, are those words or is that feeling projected in that ad? And I worked for a while as an executive recruiter for a Fortune 500 company, and my expertise was recruiting lower level staff, meaning the ones that we didn't pay that well, and improving retention rates. And every time I placed an ad from that energetic spot, it was like, people would say, I don't know what it is, but your ad spoke to me. And the department said that they attracted and had the best staff in place ever for those positions because of the techniques that we use to attract them and to retain them. So those are critically important. So again, this is an invitation. If you want to connect with me on Facebook, facebook.com/childcare business success. Show me what your ad is, and I'll give you some ideas from there. So without seeing your ad in front of me, it's really hard for me to say to do this, to do that. But I will say you've got to pull them in with it. You've got to ask yourself, does this ad excite me? But if you're saying help wanted, competitive benefits and wages, it's just going to blend in with everybody else on Indeed.com who's posting or in your papers or wherever you're going for that. All right, so let's go back here, get through a few more slides. All right, so I have conversations. So how can there never be a shortage of staff to work for me in my childcare program? So the thing is you should never, ever, ever stop hiring and never stop enrolling. It should be a continuous process so that you've always got people in the pipeline. But a lot of times it becomes a crisis situation, meaning we don't have enough staff. So all of a sudden it's like, or somebody just quits, and then it's like, oh, crisis, we got to stop everything we're doing, and then it takes a lot of time to find that person. And because it becomes like looking for our keys, it becomes really difficult to find that person when we're so heated and in the moment to find somebody. So there can, you could create this never-ending pipeline for yourself by always cultivating relationships that work for you to bring in your dreamy staff as well as your dreamy clientele. And if you're saying, Julie, hey, where do I start with the relationship building? I want you to think about who are the people, who are your circles of influences in your community. You can have conversations with your chamber, the president, and I would go to the top of these organizations, and you could even just say, hey, Mayor, Mr. Mayor in our community, can we get together to have coffee? And the more that people know, like, and trust you in every aspect, the easier it's going to be for you to fill those staffing positions and to fill those enrollment positions when you have to. So always have people in your pipeline. Always be looking for your top talent, because studies show that on average 60-something% of workers every single day are actively disengaged. And that's in all different industries. They're actively disengaged. So if we're not constantly engaging people with who we are, who are being in the workplace, and how we're having conversations in the community, you are going to be stuck where it's like, somebody just left, now what? So always use the unconventional approach of having conversations so you can be building relationships. And I have one saying here in my campus, in my company, that with relationships, everything becomes easy. Without them, everything becomes hard. So I really want you to have relationships where you can make a couple of phone calls and say, you know what, we have a job opening here, and I was wondering if you might know the lucky person who would love to be a part of our dynamic, positive, and productive team. Do you know any passion-driven people who want to make a huge difference in the lives of the children? And that's words that you can steal for your help wanted ad right there with what I just came up with. But those are inspiring words that would pull people in. And one of the questions we had on our last webinar was about millennials and how do we keep them engaged. And the thing is that they want probably even more profoundly what everybody wants, and that's to make a huge difference with their work. But if we constantly are taking away the empowerment factor in the workplace, we have people who do become robots. They do seem to come in just to get their paycheck, and they do seem to quit without giving it second thoughts. They might go out to lunch together and say, you know what, we're just not going back, because they don't feel that they make a difference and that they're really contributing to this big vision happening. So the more you bring your vision to life, and I'm not just talking about a vision that you have taped to a piece of paper or up on your wall, I'm talking about a vision that's big, bold, dreamy, and alive, one that you're living in, that pulls people in to want to be a part of what you're doing. And keep in mind, too, I mean, it's amazing that you can open up a business, any business out there, if you have a strong, compelling vision and an idea. You can be enrolling people without having a brick and mortar building in place. It's happened over and over and over and over with great visionaries for what they want to accomplish. The thing is, you've got to stand stronger in confidence for what you want to have happen than the belief that it cannot happen, because you cannot have two contradicting thoughts in your mind at the same time. So think about that. You can't think, oh, we need good staff, and they're out there, and oh, there's no good staff out there. And I tell my audiences all the time, focus on what you want to expand, because what you focus on will expand. So if you're focusing on a shortage, you're going to experience more of a shortage. And this is why we get into what I call repetitive patterns in our childcare businesses, whether it's with money, whether it's with staff, whatever it might be. There's a repeating pattern going on. And that's because of where you tend to focus your thoughts and focus your attention and focus the words that you speak. And what I tell my audiences is never focus on your butt, because what you focus on expands. So let's look at top 3 steps you can take to find dreamy staff in your child care program. So number 1, and this is a little summary, number 1 is to change your focus. Choose what you're focusing on. Number 2, bring your big, bold, dreamy vision to life with what you want for your childcare program and the kind of people who you want to work with. If you become the true visionary in your childcare program and you really say, here's what my people are going to be like, and you start getting really excited about them, you could start sensing all of the things that are unnatural, that don't belong with the vision that you want to bring into fruition. So if you're tolerating a lot of what we call undreamy staff, or people who don't really support and serve your vision, you're going to get more of the same, because that's where your thoughts cannot help but go. And I'll share with you this example. before I get to the third thing in summary is, I don't know if you've ever had the experience of buying a new car. But in 2012, I was looking for a new car, just needed a change, and I found Chevy Malibu. And the salesman told me, this is absolutely the best car, and you want to have this car. So I started thinking about this car, and at first I was like, hey, I don't see any of these cars on the road. It's kind of cool to have something that's unique and different. So I went in, signed the dotted line. The salesman handed me the keys, and what do you think happened next? I started seeing Chevy Malibus. Once I was in that car, driving that car, the car was mine. I started seeing Chevy Malibus everywhere. And it even got so bad, I wanted to start taking pictures of it because even at the airport, I started parking in between two other Malibus. So what I focused on expanded. And the same thing is true for you. What you focus on will expand. So if the mindset and the vision is there's a shortage of staff, there's not enough good staff to work for us, that's what's going to be your experience. So how can you start changing your focus today to see things from a visionary perspective? So changing your focus, tapping into the unconventional approaches that we mentioned earlier, and then letting that vision really lead and guide you. All right, so getting ready to get dreamy. And like I said, I'll make sure that you get this as a handout, as a follow-up to this webinar. But I want you to think about your vision for the staff that you want to attract to your childcare program. What do they look like? What are the characteristics? What are the qualities? And before you get back to your workday, after this video, after this webinar concludes, I want you to come here and or take out a notebook and write down the characteristics, the qualities. What is it that you want to attract in your staff? Because if you leave this webinar and go right back into your workplace that says that it's not possible, you're going to lose the momentum that you gained by being here with us today. So I really encourage you to take some time and think, what does this person look like? And one strategy that I tap into when I'm doing that is I think about, who is my dreamy staff member that I currently have on board? And then I visualize 10, 20, 30 more of that person. And I do the same thing with clients so that I'm really preparing my mind to be seeing more of that person and more of what I want in my life to support my childcare business, success. And you could tap into that to make it work for you as well. So I'm just going to see if there's a question here that I could answer quickly. Somebody wants to know what my Facebook page is. My Facebook page is facebook.com/childcare business success. And you could go there and post your job openings. Now, somebody says, I know we're talking about recruiting outside of the box right now, but have any centers tried headhunting resumes on Indeed? Any successes? You know, and all of those things can avail you some success. And we have had clients who work on Indeed, they find some people. But it really comes down to the same thing. If the mindset and the vision is in the wrong place. And somebody even told me, oh, we're going to start using an outsourcing firm to hire people for us and to find people. But you've got to be careful of where their mindset is, because you hire from who you're being in the workplace. And this is kind of a deep concept to get into at this point in the webinar, but you're hiring from that place of who you're being. So if you tend to operate from a needy perspective, and I'm saying needy because we all operate in that perspective where we have the need to be right, or the need for people to like us, or, you know, there's several other needs that we'll get into some other time. But we hire from that place. And that's why some owners will come to me and say, everybody we have in place is needy. And it's because we're being needy from the top down. So when utilizing a headhunting service or somebody's going to be hiring for you, keep in mind that they're going to be hiring from their needy place as well. So the real success formula in all of this is turning it around for yourself so that you're coming from this place where your light is shining very brightly and you're living in that visionary place, and you see and feel the other people who can support your vision. And I tell you what, if you tap into the power of the unconventional approaches of having conversations, It's just a matter of 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes a week that you're having conversations, but you're making some great connections that will lead to you finding your dreamy childcare staff. And that's what really excites me. So we've got some things to give away. I'm going to bring Emily back on in a moment. But there's a free ebook that you can grab from me. So if you want a reiteration of these steps, like what I'm sharing, I encourage you. And I will follow up with this as well via email. I know it's kind of a long website name, but we do have an ebook that just came out about 3 steps to finding your dreamy childcare staff. And that's available at that link for you. And I will send this to you via email as well if you haven't already gotten a copy of this. Also, another thing that we would like to extend to you is we do have our Childcare Business Success Conference coming up next week. And we want to get 2 free tickets in your hands to come to the conference. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring Emily back on, and we're going to talk a little bit about the conference and her participation in this, because I want to tell you that Childcare CRM is a huge supporter of the conference and has been all 3 years that we've been running it, but they've also secured tickets with us that we could pass on to you. So we've got 10 free tickets for you to come as a general registration guest of ours at rockmychildcare.com/guest. So you can come to the conference and be part of the excitement, where we're really going to be talking about filling enrollments in record time, creating higher profits for your childcare business, and attracting and retaining your dreamy staff and your dreamy clients. So stay with me here, and I'm going to stop the screen share, and I am going to, and you're here with me. That was really cool and easy.
That was super easy. Can you hear me?
I can. How did we do with the webinar content?
Great. I think I was taking notes, like how to staff CRM.
Right, exactly. But we could give you lots of tips there.
Absolutely.
So thank you for making this possible. And I think the cool thing that your followers should really be thanking you for is making some tickets to the conference available for everybody. And so let's just talk a little bit about your excitement for the conference and why, and I know you've got a history of being a director and you work with directors and owners with Childcare CRM. So why do you think that this is a must-attend event for everybody who's on here listening and watching? And these tickets, they're $247 currently, and Childcare CRM has made it possible for you to grab them at no cost.
Well, for one, to save $247, I mean, that's right? No, but for 2, I mean, I'm constantly hearing our clients attend other great conferences, but there's not a great business track for the administrators and the directors. It's a lot of programming, classroom curriculum, and they're constantly asking me for professional development that is more business related or staffing. And I think this is a great opportunity to do it and to network. I mean, you've got so many great people that attend these conferences, not just, the attendees, but also the vendor partners. There's so many people with so much knowledge to just go and meet with and talk to and absorb it all. I just think everybody leaves feeling so refreshed and ready to go, and probably with pages and pages of awesome to-do notes.
They are. We have, it's funny because at last year's conference, we gave out, the workbooks for people to take notes. And then I was in California speaking, and somebody showed up with her conference workbook. And she says, this thing does not leave my desk. She's like, I carry this with me everywhere because it has my notes and I'm always working on implementing. So the thing that we think makes our conference really different and unique, and why everybody should come on out to our event, is because we want, number one, to help you have an energy transference where you feel one way coming in and you're going to leave ready and on fire to implement what we share with you. And the mindset and vision piece is so incredibly important in our model that it really takes being submerged in that mindset. So instead of getting a little shot in the arm like what the webinar is, say, okay, let's get a shot of Julie for an hour. And my clients will say, we need a shot of Julie every couple of weeks. But instead of just getting that little shot, it's like you come into the conference environment and you've got 3 days of submergence in the kind of mindset that's going to help you get record results in record time once you go back into your program.
Yeah, absolutely. And to see people walk in, like you said, frustrated, overwhelmed, they're just not sure how to fix their problems, and they leave just feeling relief, like they can breathe again, and they have a good vision of where to go. And I think that is crucial. And especially now with everybody prepping for back to school, this is the best time to get it done.
Yeah, we always weigh that out. We're like, is July the best time for, should we do January? Because I always feel at those times when you have breaks is like the best time to get you geared up for the next school year that's coming up. And the cool thing is, from a business perspective, there's still several months left in the year where you can take your profits to the level that you want to get them to. And I know this, that the way that we work our childcare business success models, when you work on bringing that vision to life, the mindset and the people part of it, and you get those three elements right, you're going to see that outer ring, the profits, really start to soar. So you're going to start what we call eliminating your profit killers so you can keep more of what you make.
Yeah, and who doesn't want to do that?
Well, yeah, I know. I know in my business, I've appreciated coaches and mentors who have helped me to do that in my business.
Sure.
And the reason that we're taking extra time to have this, this plug about the conference is because it is a transformational experience for you. And it's right there at your fingertips where you can just make a decision to say, heck yes, I am in, I'm going to be there. And there's not even a registration fee because of this webinar. Because you're here, you get a ticket. Thanks to Chuck and Emily over at Childcare CRM, you get a ticket while the tickets are available to their community that they make possible. So, and the other thing too is that, although we call it a conference, we've really debated upon changing the name to, the big, bold, dreamy Childcare Business Success event, because it's really an unconference experience. So when you come to our event and our campus, we're not going to send you and have you pick from like 20 different tracks and what do you want to see. We want to take you on a continuous journey from the time that you get there to the time that you leave. So you've got your next 3 to 5 action items lined up for you to implement so that you experience the results and the transformation that you desire and that you deserve. So that's why we're pretty excited.
Yeah, we can't wait.
Oh, I'm excited too, and I'm so glad that we were able to do this and hop on with all of your folks. And we will be rebroadcasting this as long as I did my technology right, which I should have a little bit of a good, right, fingers crossed. But I did that good. But I think this forum is so cool. And, ask your questions and go to rockmychildcare.com/guest and claim a guest ticket. There are 10 that are available as of the start of this webinar. I'm not checking right now, so I don't know how many have been claimed already. But go there, grab your registration ticket, and secure your seat and join us in Chicagoland. And we also have a bonus session going on Wednesday evening, which is the 20th. And it's an owners-only session kicking off at 7, and it's going to last just for an hour and a half. And that's just to get our owners in a room together to really talk about our visions and what we really want in that closed-door space. So, all right, should I peek at questions real quick, Emily, before we get off?
Yeah, sure. Questions. Everybody go get your tickets. Come hang out with me.
Yes, hang out with Emily and Chuck. All right, I'm just going to see if we have any here. It looks like the numbers go up, but I don't know if I see any. A lot more of this is all technical stuff. All right. So we have one question coming in about the conference and the location of the conference. And we've got a pretty easy location. So we're going to be right in Burr Ridge, and we're in between the 2 airports. So we're in between O'Hare and Chicago Midway's airport. So it's super easy to get into. So those will be one of your 2 traveling points. And last year we even had folks in the house from Australia who made the journey to be with us for 3 transformational days. So yeah, otherwise, if you have additional questions that I might not just be seeing them. Linda says we have some great ideas regarding the techniques that we presented today. Okay, great. All right, so just some good feedback here coming through. So if there's any more feedback or any questions, I'll leave that open for a little bit after we wrap up. But if you're going to go get a ticket, you could shoot that through saying, yes, I'm running and getting my ticket right now to the event. And I know, one thing I know is that people say, well, geez, it's next week. And I know when I've made these decisions for my business or things that I felt pulled that I needed to do, sometimes it was like I was on a plane in 2 days. And one thing I've learned is that success, especially if you want to accomplish greater levels of it within your program, within your business, is that it's not going to be convenient. It's probably going to come at the most inconvenient time possible, but you're going to feel that pulling in your heart to say, you know what, you've got to be there. And when you follow that inclination that says you've got to be there and you take action, it's going to be even more of a rewarding experience for you because you've stepped up and you battled that place inside of yourself that says, oh no, because this is an old mindset talking that there's not enough time. Right? We think we need like huge amount of time, but there's something called Einstein time where things happen incredibly quickly. And if you could buy into that, you're going to buy into the other ideas and concepts that we're going to be sharing with you that talk about filling enrollments in record time. It doesn't take the certain time that we think it does. It can happen very fast, and finding staff as well, very fast. And that's what I want for everybody who's participating in this, is to be able to attract and retain your dreamy staff and dreamy clients whenever you need to, so that you can create your positive, productive, and profitable childcare business, the business that you desire and the business that you most importantly deserve. Anything else to say in closing, Emily?
No, that's it. Thanks so much for doing this with us. It was such a great time.
You are very welcome, and thank you for having me, and thank you for sharing this with your folks and making the opportunity available to everybody. And I hope we could do more of these as we progress throughout 2016 and 2017. All right, everybody, I will leave the Q&A open for a little bit, but I am going to go ahead and close us out and just say thank you. And just remember that what you think in your mind is possible for your success in your business, it absolutely 100% is. And come out and join us, rockmychildcare.com. And I hope you'll join us for the conference /guest to claim your free ticket. All right, everyone, we'll close out. I'm going to put the slides back on, and I'll put that link back up so you can go and claim your ticket. And Emily, thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Bye, guys.
Bye.